Say, good day again, grade 9. It is Sir Reggie again. I will be filming a video, a discussion, because as I was saying a while ago, I will not make it tomorrow. Okay, so let us begin. Let me share my screen. I will direct you to my presentation. Please listen very well because I cannot afford to let you miss a very good topic. So please listen. Okay, let me share my screen. But before that, let me check if this one is recording. Okay, that's it. Good. Now, hopefully you can now see my presentation. Before we begin, I want you to try to determine what is the word we are looking for by simply using these two pictures. What do you think is that word we're looking for? Try to guess. Okay. I expect you to have your answers right now, or your answer right now. So you are correct. I'm sure you are very much correct. You're correct, rather. The answer or the word that we are looking for is the word listening. Now, before we move forward, for you, what is the importance of listening? How important listening is? Why do we need to listen? Okay, that's it. Now, for today's meeting, in this video, we will talk about the story entitled Sorry, Wrong Number. Okay, so I'm expecting that you do have a prior knowledge about this story. Hopefully, you do have a prior knowledge about this very good story. Again, entitled Sorry, Wrong Number. Now, why? Now, I will give you a simple suggestion that will help you really understand any story. Okay, now, the question is why? What is that why? The question why is about you must ask before you begin reading any literary piece, any story, you must ask yourself why? Why, why did the writer come up with that kind of title? Of all the titles that we could have, why did the writer himself or herself come up with this kind of title? Sorry, wrong number. We can have other than this one. Okay, but why? So that is your first question before you officially begin with the story itself. And then hopefully at the end of this story or discussion, you can answer your question, why? Now, for us to officially begin with the story, let us talk about the characters. I want you to focus on these characters, okay? Mrs. Stevenson, George, the operator, operator from the first operator, second operator, all the way to the third operator. And then police officer named Duffy, and then a woman from the assigned from to the nurses registry. Okay, those are the characters that you should focus on. Pay attention to these characters. Now, class, wait, let me check my audio. Okay, very good. That's it. Now, I want you to observe this sequence of characters from Miss Stevenson, followed by George, and then operator. To be this one is phone operator to be exact. Okay. After George, it is being followed by the operators. Not only one, not only two, but three operators. Okay, and then followed by a police officer named Duffy, and then a woman assigned in nurses registry. Come to think of it, kindly imagine, what do you think is the story all about by simply trying to observe the sequence of the characters? Mrs. Stevenson all the way to the woman. Now, for us to proceed, I will give you the summary right away. The sorry wrong number, okay, the sorry wrong number has this kind of summary. The main character named Mrs. Stevenson is an invalid person, or in Tagalog, invalido, yeah, something like that, who has been attempting to get in touch with her husband, who is working late. Yes, Kindly imagine if you're an invalid person and you don't have your loved ones with you, so you will really um, just like what Mrs. Stevenson is feeling that time. She is really longing for her husband who is working late. Okay, and then, however, the line is busy, and she ends up overhearing a phone conversation between a killer named George and his boss. Okay, and this is the catch. Okay, the moment Mrs. Stevenson called his husband, unfortunately, she ends up overhearing a phone conversation, a really bad phone conversation between a killer named George and his boss. So this is a simple summary of the story. Now, for you to be much aware, for you to be familiar with this story, I will show you the video of Sorry, Wrong Number. So let me stop my presentation or my screen sharing for a while. Stop. And I will direct you to the video itself. A moment, please. Sorry, wrong number. Okay, that's it. Do not forget the word from the very beginning of this discussion, listening. And aside from that, do not forget the characters and the summary, of course. Now, as you can see, this video um, will last for 26 minutes and 3 seconds. So I really want you to be patient, okay, to listen very well. So let us begin. And sorry, I forgot. Please, before you listen to this video, I want you to get your modules, please, so that you can follow to the story itself, okay? So get your modules, please. I will wait for you. 30 seconds, or maybe 15. Get your modules, please. Grade 9, get your modules. Okay, almost there. And then try to follow while I am playing the video. Okay, almost there. Do you have your modules with you right now? Okay, there you go. There you have it. So let us begin. Oh my, sorry. Let me stop the video for a while. I think I forgot to share the computer sound. Sorry. Let me continue. Let us begin all over. Okay, from the very beginning. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I have been dialing 212-7799 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy, but I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
212-7799. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing 212. 27799.
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. George?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Who is this? What number am I calling, please?
We have heard from our client. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In the phone booth.
You know the address. At 11 o'clock, the security officer goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out. There should be only one light visible from the street. At 11:15, a train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case her window is open, and she should scream.
Hello? What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand.
Make it quick. As little blood as possible. Our client does not wish to make her suffer.
A knife okay, sir?
Yes, a knife will be okay. And remember, remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery.
Okay, I get.
Oh, how awful! How unspeakably awful!
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry, madam. What number are you calling?
Why, it was supposed to be 2127799, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed, and I was cut into a wrong number. And I've just heard the most dreadful thing. A murder. And, operator, you'll simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, madam. I don't quite...
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening. But these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, and they were going to murder somebody, some poor, innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge. And we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
That doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it. And we've got to find out what it was immediately. Oh, why are you so stupid? Look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try 2127799 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected to some other phone, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again, on purpose. Why you couldn't try to dial 2127799 in the same careless sort of way.
2127799. I will try to get it for you, madam.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. 2127799 is busy.
Operator? Operator?
Yes, madam.
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry. What number were you calling?
Can't you, for once, forget what number I was calling and do something specific? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty. It's your civic duty to trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you don't, it'll be on your head.
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please.
Miss Curtis, will you pick up on 17, please? Somebody wanting a call traced. I can't make head nor tail of it.
This is the chief operator.
Chief Operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be traced down because it was about a murder. Yes, a terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor, innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
It depends, madam.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now.
Well, I can try tracing it. Now, what is your name, madam?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
But your telephone number?
6842155. But if you go on wasting all this time...
And what is your reason for wanting this call traced?
My reason? Well, for heaven's sake, isn't it obvious? I overhear two men, they're killers. They're planning to murder this woman. It's a matter for the police.
Have you told the police?
No, how could I?
You have to have something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake! You mean to tell me I can't report a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. All right, then. I will call the police. Ridiculous.
Your call, please.
The police department, please.
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Sergeant Duffy speaking.
Police department. This is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson of 38 Edgecliff Road, Bellevue Hill. I'm calling up to report a murder.
Eh?
I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet. I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody is so stupid. And I guess in the end, you're the only people who could do anything.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a security officer on the street. He was going to go round for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
Oh, about 8 minutes ago. Then you can do something. You do understand?
And what's your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
Mrs. Stevenson. And your address?
38 Edgecliff Road, Bellevue Hill. That's near a bridge, Benny's Bridge, you know. And we have a security officer on our street.
And what was the number you were calling?
212-7799, but that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, 212-7799 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right by my bed.
We'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, to see if we can check with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, yes.
Personally, I think you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you track it down, they'll have already committed the murder.
We'll take care of it, Mrs. Stevenson. Don't worry.
I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the whole city. I'm very near a bridge, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent round a radio car to this neighbourhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighbourhood, Mum?
Well, I don't know, but the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the security officer, the bridge.
Oh, 2nd Avenue. Oh, it's a very long street, Mum. And you know how many bridges there are in Sydney and beside the Harbour Bridge. How do you know they were even talking about Sydney at all?
But I heard it on the Sydney dialling system.
Oh, How do you know it wasn't a long-distance call? Telephones are funny things.
Oh, I suppose so. But it's so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders committed in this city every day, Mrs. Stevenson. If we could do something to stop them, we would.
Surely there's some...
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call is phony, and this someone may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, no! Oh, I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I'm all alone, day and night. I see nobody except my maid and my husband, Albert. And he's crazy about me, adores me, waits on me hand and foot. He's scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well, then, there's nothing to worry about, is there? And now, if you'll just leave the rest of it to us.
What will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 o'clock.
You'll take care of it, lady.
Will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cast to watch out, especially in suspicious neighbourhoods like mine?
Will you broadcast all over the Sydney? Yes. Lady, I'll take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require my immediate attention.
Oh, idiot. Oh, now why did I do that? He'll think I'm a fool. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you try that 212-7799 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
Ringing 212-7799. The line is busy. Shall I?
I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. Oh, if only I could get out of this bed for a little while. Oh, I could take a breath of fresh air. Oh, or just lean out of the window and see the street. Ah! Albert, hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? Hello? Oh. Oh. Hello? Who's there? Answer me! Who is this? Who's calling? Oh.
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such a miserable service. Now look, I'm an invalid and I'm very nervous and I'm not supposed to be annoyed, but if this goes on much longer, I think I'll go out of my mind.
What seemed to be the trouble, madam?
Well, everything's wrong. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care, and now my phone keeps ringing.
Yes, madam?
Ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so, and when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I am sorry, madam. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put through that call, whatever it is, at once.
I'm afraid that is not possible, madam.
Not possible. And why, may I ask?
The system is automatic, madam. If someone is trying to reach you, there is no way to check the number, the call is coming through the system or not, unless the person who is trying to reach you complains to this particular operator.
Well, of all the stupid, complicated... And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed, suffering every time the phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check it for you, madam.
Check it! Check it! That's all anybody could do! Oh, of all the stupid, idiotic... Oh, what's the use? Hello? Hello? Stop ringing! Do you hear me? Answer me! What do you want? Do you realize you're driving me crazy? Hello?
This is the Telegraph office. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, Edscliffe Road, Bellevue Hill. Terribly sorry. Stop. Tried to get you past hour, but line busy. Stop. Leaving for Melbourne, 11 p.m. tonight. Urgent business. Stop. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Stop. Love, signed Albert. Stop.
Oh, no!
That's all, madam. Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
Do you have the address, madam?
No. No, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. No. No. It isn't true. He couldn't do it. Not when he knows I'll be here all alone. It's some trick. Some fiendish trick.
Your call, please.
Operator, try that 212-7799 number for me. Just once more, please.
Ringing 212 7799.
He's gone. Oh, Albert. How could you? How could you? But I can't be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone for one more second. I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled to have help.
This is information.
I want the number of Henchley Hospital. No, it's a very small private hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley. Henchley.
One moment, please.
Please hurry. And please, what's the time?
I don't know, madam. You may find the time by dialing.
For heaven's sake, couldn't you just tell me?
The number of Hensley Hospital is 740105, madam.
740105. 740105.
Henchley Hospital, good evening.
Nurses Registry.
Who was it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurses' registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her immediately for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing and companionship. My husband is away, and I'm just here all alone, and I've been...
Have you been recommended to any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I want a trained nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay for this person.
We quite understand that, madam, but registered nurses are very scarce now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the doctor in charge feels that it is absolutely necessary.
Oh, well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very upset. Very. I'm all alone in this house, and I'm an invalid. And tonight I overheard a conversation that upset me terribly about a murder. A poor woman who was going to be murdered at 11:15 tonight. In fact, if someone doesn't come round at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in. And what is your name, madam?
And what time do you expect Miss Phillips to be in?
I really don't know, madam. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 o'clock yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. Oh, I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Well, it's just 14 minutes past 11.
What's that?
What was what, madam?
That click just now in my own telephone, as though someone had lifted the receiver off the hook of the extension phone downstairs.
I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about this...
I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now. They're... Oh. I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. I'll be quiet and nothing. But if I don't call someone now, while they're still down there, there'll be no time.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in dreadful trouble.
I cannot hear you, madam. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
Your call, please. What number are you calling, madam?
You've got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to help me get in touch with the police. Oh, give me the police department. The police!
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Sergeant Duffy speaking.
Sorry, wrong number.
And that's it for the video. So let me stop my my screen sharing for a while, and I will direct you to my presentation. Okay, share screen. Wait for a while. Let me fix this one. Share screen, share. Sorry, another one. Share screen, slide deck. Okay, that's it. Now, hopefully you can now see my presentation. Now, wow, the last part of the story is quite scary, right? Intense. Now, I have given you the summary a while ago. Now, let us talk about the theme or the lesson of the story. As we all know, it is about, yes, it is mainly about Mrs. Stevenson and the murderer, and as well as the police of all of these five characters, okay? Mrs. Stevenson, who is really confused or maybe afraid for her safety, and then a George, operator, all the way to the woman from the nurses registry. Now, again, as I was saying, I've already given you the summary. Now, let us talk about the theme or lesson of the story. For me, okay, it is about someone's safety. Okay, it is about someone's safety. And we can have different perception about the theme of this story. Okay, maybe you can say it is about the theme of the story is the essence of listening. So if your answer is it is the theme of the story is about the essence of listening, the importance of listening. So you might have this kind of answer. In sorry, wrong number, the theme of the story is about listening because no one, almost no one, listened properly to Mrs. Stevenson about a murder on loose. She tells the police, but they think that she was crazy and was lying. So we can have different answers for this theme. So it could be safety, it could also be listening or essence or importance of listening, and so on and so forth. But and now let us go with the lesson of the story. Now, for me, the lesson of the story, and based on the story itself, its lesson is never leave someone or somebody alone, most especially if he or she cannot protect himself or herself. So that is the lesson of the story. So Mrs. Stevenson, she did everything. She did everything he can, only to realize, only to find out that her concern is her own murder. Okay, so that's really bad. So that's it for the story sorry wrong number. Hopefully you learned it very well. So that's it. Thank you so much, and God bless.